Since assembling my full bat suit from the Batman, I've done a lot of different photo shoots. I've done them in my bathroom, in my living room, done them in a studio, on location, on overpasses, on underpasses, in the pouring rain, on street corners. I've done it all. But the photo shoot I want to highlight today is probably one of my favorites, and it was on a very famous movie location that you wouldn't necessarily suspect just by looking at these pics. So today I want to break down for you guys how I found the location, why I decided it would be a good place to shoot at, and then cover a bit of the process and a few of the challenges we had to overcome on the night of shooting. And if you want to assemble your very own batsuit just like this, make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to tell you how you can do just that. Let's get started. So for the longest time, I've actually wanted to do a photo shoot that's at least sort of reminiscent of the Gotham City that we see in the Batman. Now, Sydney, while being a major city, doesn't have a ton of architecture that's that similar to a Gotham City kind of vibe, except for one building which I walk past every day, and it's this clock tower here in the middle of the Sydney CBD. Now, it's actually the old Martin Place post office, and now it's been converted into a hotel, and there is a post office still in there, but it's basically the building that is most reminiscent of the GCPD building that we see in the Batman, or at least it comes the closest out of any buildings I can find in Sydney. The next hurdle to overcome was trying to find the right vantage point to shoot from. Basically, all of the space in front of the clock tower is just open courtyard and doesn't give the right kind of elevated feel for any kind of Batman photo shoot. Getting access to any kind of adjacent rooftops as well was pretty much out of the question because all these kind of building stratas want like permits and insurance and all that, and there's no way I was going to be able to get up there or get all of that approved. So this is where the Matrix actually comes in. Now, the first Matrix film was filmed almost entirely in Sydney and around the Sydney CBD. This famous scene in front of the fountain, the girl in the red dress, where Morpheus is explaining the nature of the Matrix to Neo. This fountain just so happens to be located basically directly across the road from the clock tower where I want to shoot. Now, at either end of this fountain, there's these two kind of elevated pylons, which as I was kind of scoping this out and thinking about it, I figured that would be kind of the perfect spot to stand and have the clock tower be visible in the background and kind of give the appearance of Batman kind of being elevated up off the street and kind of gives this little bit of a Batman standing on a rooftop kind of vibe. So I've overlaid what I actually was seeing in my mind with the footage that we ended up actually shooting, but as I was scoping it out, I could kind of see it all coming together in my mind, it was perfect. Everything was lining up perfectly. The most difficult part of this whole thing was going to be how was I going to actually get up there in the batsuit. Now, the batsuit is not the most mobile piece of clothing I have ever worn. In fact, far from it. And, you know, I can jump up onto these pylons pretty easily just in regular clothes, but in the full batsuit, it was basically going to be impossible. So I just picked up a stepladder, brought it to the shoot with us, stuck it on the end there, and then I was able to climb up there to get the shot, basically. Now, suiting up on location is a little bit different to suiting up at home, and I've done a complete video on what the full suit up process looks like usually, just so you can see how all the different components of the suit fit together in the order in which they need to go on. Now, when I'm doing an on location shoot, I like to have the bottom half of the suit, at least the pants and the boots, already on, and then have the vest set up so that I can just kind of slide into it with the bicep and shoulder armor already on. That way, it's just a matter of kind of getting the accessories on the suit. So that's mainly just the belt, the holster, the gloves, and of course like the cowl and the cape, which are definitely the two most uncomfortable items to wear, so it makes sense to only be putting those on basically right before we start shooting because just the sweat and the heat builds up in the suit really quickly. Now, this is a very close friend of mine, let's just call her Alfred, who I absolutely could not do this without. She's become an absolute superstar at getting this thing on me and making sure everything's sitting right and looking right, and just kind of ensuring that all the pieces of the costume are in their right places. But yes, if you'd like a closer look at how the suit actually assembles and how it sits on me, check out this video I'll have it linked up in the top right corner here. That'll give you like a really in-depth guide of what it takes to actually put this thing on. Now, as much as I loved this location and desperately wanted to shoot there, there's one thing that I absolutely love to try and include in my Batman photo shoots as much as possible, and that's rain. Rain just in all of the shots and in all of the footage that I've got where I'm in the rain, it just adds like another layer of what I would like to call realism to my shots, and it just makes the photos really pop, and it gives it this real kind of authentic look. Now, typically I would just try to shoot in real rain. That's just so much easier. It's easier and harder at the same time because you do have to be a lot more careful with your camera equipment, and you have to kind of be aware of where you can position your cameras, or have your photographer or your shooter stand that's either undercover or have them set up with like an umbrella or something, because electronics, as you probably know, don't do too well with water, and a lot of my camera gear is already like 10 years old, and I really don't want to replace it. So I need to keep it alive and keep it going for as long as possible. So normally if I want to shoot in the rain, I'll just keep an eye on the weather forecast and be like, oh, we're going to get a heap of rain on this particular night or whatever. We'll organize to go out and shoot on that particular night. Now, if you're shooting at like a home location or your backyard or something, you can use your garden hose or something. But because this is in the middle of the city, water is not that easily accessible unless there's like a public tap somewhere, or public faucet, sorry, for my American audience. Yeah, unless you've got something like that close by, you're gonna have to try and cheat it. And that's exactly what I did on this particular shoot. So that's where this comes in. Now, this is literally just like a garden, it's like a weed hand sprayer thing. I just went to Bunnings and picked this up. And yeah, this worked perfectly. Every 10 minutes or so, I'd have my photographer kind of come up, pump this one up, and then just kind of like, oh, that is very misty and there's a lot of technology in front of me. Whoops, I thought that was, and that just went straight over my balcony. So I really hope no one was down there because it's like perfectly blue sky day. So there's no way they're gonna think that was rain. Anyway, if you want to include rain in your shots or make your cosplay or photo shoot or whatever, just have that little extra bit of realism depending on who you're shooting or what you're shooting, and you don't have access to water, a little garden weed sprayer is the absolute like perfect tool. This wasn't necessarily to fake rain in like a video sense, as you can see in this stuff here. That was going to be way too hard. It was more just to for like the close-up shots, to just kind of wet the suit down so that it looked like Batman had been out in the rain. So yes, this is a really handy tool if you need to get water on your characters and you're in a location that doesn't have like a reliable water supply. I know there is a fountain like right beneath me, but again, I'm not jumping in that. It's a public fountain in the middle of a major city. Who knows what kind of stuff is in there. So yeah, I now need to find a towel to get all the water off the floor that I just sprayed. Ugh. I really need to clean my room. There's a lot of dust on the floor as well. That's all right, it's a bat cave. It doesn't need to be clean. Now, the footage that actually came from the shoot is honestly some of my favorite ever. It's just that I've ever captured in the bat suit. It was also one of the most public-facing shoots I've ever done, which means there was a handful of people that did want to come up and get photos with me. This guy was actually awesome. He basically climbed up the railing. He didn't use the stairs. He basically just climbed straight up this railing to kind of get up there and get a photo with me. So that was a lot of fun. There was also a lot of people pointing and shouting like, hey Batman, hey going, whatever. And again, I've never been that public facing in cosplay before. So I was doing a lot of just smile and wave, boys, smile and wave. Eventually we moved on to this the bit of facade or arcade kind of thing underneath the clock tower. And again, some more guys came up for photos, which was a lot of fun. But again, the photos from this shoot were honestly, they turned out spectacularly, and I'm really glad I actually decided to take the plunge and go to the little bit of the extra effort to try and get up there and plan this shoot up on top of the fountain, I mean, because again, the photos really speak for themselves. And Alfred, who is always behind my camera, I cannot speak highly enough of her for all the work she does. Just incredible results. Now, if you want to assemble your very own batsuit just like this, I've covered the process pretty extensively in this video here. It compiles all my processes, how I sourced certain parts, how I made certain parts, into one gigantic guide that you can follow along or use as a really strong base to kind of build up your own batsuit. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Please leave a like down below if you did. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more of the exciting stuff I've got coming up. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.